Here's a trash can. Hi, everybody. Jim Reifus from Carmel Valley, Keller Williams here in beautiful sunny San Diego. Beautiful day here. I'm with my good friend Miguel Nunez. Miguel and I have known each other. We'll give you some of the history on that for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years now. Just Miguel is growing his business exponentially, and he's here today to show you some of the tools and techniques that he's using to do that. And his numbers are just are shattering in a market that's off 25%. Miguel's numbers are off the hook. He's going to grow his gross commission income by about 20%. So Miguel, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for the invite, Tim. Great,
great. And Scott Solari is with us from Viral Marketing as well. Scott puts this whole thing together and does a great job for us. And any of you agents out there looking to grow your business by using video and webinars, Scott's a great source for that. So Scott, thanks for having us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And just to mention to everybody, we want this to be very interactive. So there's a Q&A application that you can click, and you can ask questions throughout, and we'll get to them. We'll answer them for you, and we'll have some fun. So thanks, Jim.
Yep, good. So Miguel, why don't you? How long have you been in the business? Tell everybody how long you've been in the business.
I've been 17 years.
17 years. How long have you been at Keller Williams?
2.5. Well, it's going to be 3 years this February, so we're getting up there. Yeah.
Good. And Miguel was very instrumental in bringing me over here from our former company about a year ago. So thank you for that, brother. I don't thank you for that enough. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So Miguel, why don't you share with everybody kind of how your business has grown? We don't want to make it too long and probably not go back to the beginning, but how's it grown over the last 5 years?
Well, of course, we had for the last 5 years, you hit right at the smack in the recession. So it was tough. Recession was tough, like it was for everyone else. In my case, I had no option but to continue working and continue knocking on doors and just hustling. It was tough, especially being in this market here in the Del Mar Ranch, Santa Fe. This area was just good hit really hard. We had never seen so many listings on the market, 400, 300, 400 listings. Never had we seen that. So it was tough. Kind of in the middle of that, they made the switch. I had been with Prudential all these years. I've only known Prudential since '97, and when I started seeing a change in energy between one company to the other, I started coming over to Keller Williams, and they were hustling over here. So I thought, you know what, I need to hustle. I can't be depressed because we're no longer doing the multi-million-dollar properties. We need to get going, and so I think that was key. When I had to kind of get off my pedestal, thinking that we only did multi-million-dollar jobs, started going back to basics and just to hustle and go and knock on doors and take anything and everything that the market would and my clients would send over to us. Thank God I did that, and I think that was that and the style and the systems that they have here at Keller is key to, and I haven't seen the best of it yet. I mean, I'm just getting a taste of where I'm going right now. Of course, now I have a very, very clear picture of where I'm going, and I'm just so darn excited because of that change and going from the traditional way of doing real estate to this, which I'm still discovering new things. So to me, it's just every day is okay. So what am I going to learn? What system am I going to learn next? And just be surprised from the results, right?
And one of the things that's been great to watch with you has been the way that you have a business now. This is no longer a job for you, but this is a business that you have. And one of the things that I admire about you is the systems that you've set up. We're going to talk about that later today, and hopefully you'll share some ideas on how people can, and some of the tools that you're using to grow your business that others can use. And it just done such a great job. So let me ask you this: what did you do? What was your gross commission income last year?
It was about $327,000.
So your gross commission last year was $327,000, and how many units was that?
About 17. Not a whole lot.
And then where are you? We're in November, beginning in November, so 10 months through the year. Where are you in gross commission income now?
at 425.
Okay, so you've grown your gross commission income by about $100,000.
Yes.
And where do you, based on what you have in escrow and what you have listed, where do you see your gross commission income being at the end of the year?
About 525, another 100 grand out there.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you're going to grow your business about $200,000 year over year, and how many units is that?
About 32.
So you're going to do about 32. I think when we did our coaching appointment the other day, I looked at it and it looked like anywhere between 32 and 34 deals. So you've doubled your business, doubled the units that you've done, and increased your income by about 200 grand. So congratulations to you. And I might add, in a market that is off in San Diego County about 20 to 25%. So great job. So here's the $1 million question I think people are asking. What have you done in the last 12 months to grow your business to that extent?
Well, I haven't hired more people, so that from one perspective is not that I brought a whole bunch of buyer's agents to start to do that. So it's pretty much, I have a skeleton crew. I have a part-time virtual assistant, which is now pretty well educated and kind of manages his own time. Got a part-time buyer's agent slash assistant. So I'm heavily into systems. So every process that we do has a system, has a sheet. So there's really, it just takes a little bit, way less time for each one of us to do whatever we have to do, if it's a new listing or if it's a new buyer. But basically, it's just really sticking to, all these systems, from my perspective, and remember, my background is engineering, but all these systems have just freed me of, number one, training people, of number two, just taking twice to do things. Sometimes I even forget, well, how do you upload pictures here and there? I just go back to a little book that we put together, and I myself will go look at it, and if I have to do it myself, I'll do it myself. But I think it's more the freedom to actually do my prospecting. Number one, to do my prospecting, and then even more, is just to leave my head, unclutter my head, so to speak, so that all of a sudden I will remember, oh, what if I do a lot of probate sales, and this morning I just thought about that. Well, why don't I sell every time I do a probate or a trust sale? Why don't I send a printout of the flyer to all of the private fiduciaries that I know, that there are about 40? Why don't I do that every time I do a transaction? And why didn't I think that before? Because I see them once a month, but they don't. Not all of them know how much business we're doing. So again, it just frees my mind to come up with stuff like that. To say, what was I thinking? Well, I should have done this years ago. So again, it's just the clarity, and the third thing is just the clarity of knowing where I'm going. Now, with the systems that we have in place, and with everybody knowing what they have to do, to me, if I say, okay, I'm going to double my production next year, I know exactly what to do. Maybe I have to hire one more person, and kind of work on a little bit of the training, but having what each individual, each team member has to do, if I want to multiply my business, it's just a matter of leveraging it with the same, not to reinvent any wheel, just to follow the same systems that we're doing.
So back to your production in 2013, you did about $320,000 in gross commission income and 16 or 17 units. Right. What was your goal when you and I sat down last November and did your business plan? Right when I got here, what were your goals for GCI, and what were your goals for units?
My goals for GCI were 400,000, and units was 24. And
you're going to do about 500,000 in GCI, and with about 32, 34 transactions. So what is that? What should the viewer, what should the people watching this take away from that? Just from that exercise.
Well, just the power of, and again, here I go again with the systems, without having, like the airplane. The pilots don't really learn how to fly a plane, or they pretty much have almost every scenario covered. The what ifs, and I'm constantly, my systems are, for example, I have a transaction sheet where I have a number of tasks that each one of us have to do, and it's clearly pointed out. Okay, Miguel does contract negotiation, AVI, blah, blah, blah. Then there's a series of lists that the listing manager has to do, and even after we close of escrow, there are certain tasks that we have to do on a transaction after we close of escrow. So sometimes, and as we go through the process or through these transactions, something will pop up that I'll say, you know what, if I would have had this line item, I wouldn't have run into this problem. So I go back to my master sheet, and I'll add that. Make sure that you do this before. Make sure, I don't know, whatever, I can't remember the whatever case, but something that comes up that cost us some trouble, I will put it on my list so that it doesn't happen to me again, and that we're ready for that surprise, so to speak.
Yeah. So one of the great things, and this is one of the tests on whether a realtor is running a business, or if they're a real estate agent, right? Gary Keller talks about that, being a business owner versus a real estate agent.
Right.
When as we're prepping for this call, the people that are on here don't know, I asked Miguel, what was your GCI last year and the number of units you did last year, and where are you year to date now in units in GCI? And he had that number at his fingertips. He's got a great system set up where, just like a business owner, he can get to his numbers so quickly and be able to articulate them and compare them, because one of the things we talk about here all the time is know your numbers, check your P&L every month, and because that's what business people do, right?
Yeah.
Scott, what did you want to ask Miguel?
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask, I know from a real estate perspective, if I'm watching this as an agent, I want to know what systems and checklists you have in place to where you're able to streamline this so well to the point where you're actually at times able to work on your business and come up with new solutions and working in it all the time. And I think that's a problem with a lot of agents, is that they have so much going on all the time that they're not able to really focus on growing their business in the right way and overseeing those systems. So let's kind of start from the beginning. When you get a new deal in your pipeline, what systems do you have in place to really streamline that process to get it either listed or get the buyer looking at the homes or whatever that system is? Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, if it's a listing, for example, I will, if we get the listing, I have, again, it's just a list of actions. Even before, let's say we're going to interview the client. I'll take with me a MLS input sheet, and at the top of the input sheet, where you put in, how many bedrooms, how many baths. Because again, my idea is to go to my listings just once. In an ideal world, I would just like to go, again, if our plan is to do between 50 to 75 transactions next year, I can't go multiple times to each of my listings. So again, after experiencing the fact, for example, you go down to the property and you're going to start inputting information, and guess what? We forgot the tape measure, or we forgot the camera. That, well, we're going to have to come back another day to do, simple things like that. So I have my my MLS input sheet, and at the top of the MLS input sheet, we put here, remember to bring tape measure, camera, pencil. Just exaggerating so that, okay, we're going a lockbox. We'll take a lockbox. Whether we get it or not, we already take a lockbox ready to leave it there so that it's not another trip, and maybe not for me, for my staff, but again, I'm just trying to say, guys, let's be efficient. We can't be going back and forth 10 times to the property for little things, because that's just, it takes us time away from other properties. So, again, once we're there, then it's just I call it, transactions for dummies. So that if we hire a high schooler or an intern to come in, say, okay, just follow, the little box, and just go down and if there's something in here that you don't understand, go to our resource, to our, we have a manual. And if it says here, upload photographs into Zillow, and well, how to do it? Well, go to the procedures manual and go how to look for Zillow, look how to upload, or KWLS, and it should be there. Again, it should be to the point, as simple as turn on your computer, go to this website, this is a password, this is a username, and just step by step so that anyone can actually, without any training, it's kind of McDonald's does. The guy who comes in straight out of high school can fix, in a matter of 3 days can do a hamburger, the same way that the guy who's been working there for 10 years. So again, so from the perspective of the listing, we just have our listing tasks. Order the keys, order the signs, set up the professional photographer. Again, it's just all the steps that have to be, so that we don't forget, oh, you know what, we didn't post this on Facebook. Oh, you know what, we forgot to call the termite company. I don't know. It's just to the point where we can just have that thing going on by itself.
So you have a manual and a checklist for all those. Take a listing, and it's got 30 steps that you need to do on every listing that you take.
Yeah. And there's stuff that I don't even know how to do it, because as we go, for example, I have my assistant, for example, we use Showing Suite, which is a feedback, it's kind of it used to be called home feedback, which sends automatically feedback to the agents who visit our listings. To be honest with you, I don't know how to put in a new property in there. But if it happens during the weekend or my assistant gets sick, and it just happens that it's time, well, these 3 days, this is the time we have to put that on online, I'll just grab our little book and I'll open it up and say, oh, and just follow the steps. And it's also a living document. I mean, we scribble things. Sometimes the procedures change. Sometimes the passwords change. So we scribble on it. We have a online version, and then we will print out periodically a new printed version, because we're constantly updating it. Even each procedure, we put, okay, this procedure was updated by. We put who updated it, in case there's a question or something's not working or we're missing a step. If you miss a step in a procedure to go out there, maybe you could find out about it. But typically, we could always call, hey, what was your intention? We're missing a step here. What's going on? Mm-hmm. So, so that's just an example of how we do when you're actually in a transaction.
Yeah.
For example, with new leads, we have, and again, if not most, everything that we do now is online. We're using this great platform that Keller Williams has with Gmail and Google Docs. Everything is now we have in Google Docs, and you can't see my desk right now, but there's hardly any paper around here. So that if we have, well, I'm prospecting, we get a new buyer, or we get a sign call, they all go to a lead sheet, and we put all the information there. We put a little bit of story with them there, and once a day I sit down with my buyer's agent. Okay, what about this guy? What about this guy? And did you ask him this or did you ask him that? Trying to, between both of us, trying to, and I've got a grading system for the buyers, which is we put a number 7. We've got a brand new lead. We put them at motivation number 7, meaning, well, we're just thinking, checking. 8 meaning that they've already maybe start talking to a lender. 9, that they already talked to a lender, they're ready, we've met with them. And 10 is the guy who's we're actually looking for a home, and as soon as they find something, they'll write a contract. So our job is to get all the 7s to an 8, to a 9, and get them to a 10. So and that way we don't miss, which would happen before. I would give them a lead, I would give them a little sticky. Right now, if I get a lead, or Sonia, or whoever gets a lead, we all go to that same document. We put the date that it came in. We put whatever information that we put in there. Sometimes it's incomplete. But then when we sit down and we have our buyer meeting where we all kind of talk about this and do the follow-up, and to be honest with you, trying to eliminate those that are just sucking our time out, and just trying to work with the ones that are motivated.
Okay, so Miguel, do me a favor. Take your computer and turn it around and show everybody the board that you're looking at on the other wall. This is a great system, and when Miguel and I meet once a week, And so he's got everything there. And Miguel, I'm going to ask you to explain. You can sit back down. I just wanted everybody to see the whiteboard. Explain the categories that are there, because that's part of your system too. And whenever I ask you questions about your business, your eyes always go to that board. So tell everybody what is on that board and why you have it, where you have it, right across from your desk.
And by the way, that board, we also have an exact copy of that board in an Excel sheet, in a Google sheet, just in case I happen to be out of town or something. We constantly update, we match, because I work on that board, and my stand-up desk is right next to the board. Mm-hmm. So as I'm prospecting and I get those leads, so I put them in the board right away, and then Sonia comes in and updates our computer version, our online version of the board. But what I have is just the first column is my listings, which are our active listings, of course. And you gave me this idea, Jim, where we're starting to classify, well, not necessarily the listings. For example, the bottom part is my pipeline. The nature of my business is that I work with probate, trust, and estate sales. And I'll get the typical call from an attorney saying, you know, Miguel, our client just passed away, and she has 3 properties that we need to liquidate, and these are the addresses. Pretty much, you know, the houses are, one is in disrepair, the other one is okay, the other one is fairly new. So those 3 homes will go out on the market at different stages. So now I'm classifying them in 3 colors. You know, which house is going to be on the market from 0 to 30 days, which is the one from 30 to 60 and 60 to 90. So that we, again, focus our attention on those ones that are going to be immediately coming up on the line, and so we can focus our resources, or if there's a contractor that has to go there, if I need to coordinate the estate sale with the person who's going to do the estate sale, just, you know, any of that. That list is a gold mine for a lot of the investors that I have. Everybody wants to know what's going to be coming up soon. Yep. Right. So what we do, whenever I have one of these properties that I know will take maybe 2 to 3 months even, I will send, I'll do a nice brochure or a nice piece that I'll send it out to this group of investors that we have, and to my clients, say, hey, coming soon in 2 to 3 months, this property not in the market. So I'm kind of giving them a heads up on that. So everybody's always calling me, even some agents who are assets, who work with investors. They'll say, hey, what do you have there? And you represent us, even though they are the agents, but they'll even ask so that they can get hold of this inventory. They'll allow us to represent them if it's appropriate, depending on the case.
Okay.
Then the next column is the escrows, of course. We keep track of the escrows, and every column has a date. Put a date.
When you say escrows, you mean things that are in escrow right now?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So I have a date of when it goes into escrow. I have a date of when it's, even, you know, the pipeline. When I get that call from the attorney, I will put, okay, this is the date that this came online, or when I put it in listing, or when I put it in escrow. So there's a date, and that just gives me an idea. Okay, well, let me see. Oh my gosh, that has been in the market for. And again, just with a glance, that's why I put it here in my office, because rather than going to a screen, it's right here in front of me. And I can detect pretty much, or when we have our meetings here, it's easier for us to make reference to the board and start looking at what requires more of an immediate attention.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been using that board? Because you didn't have that when you were at our other company.
No, pretty much about 6 months.
Okay.
6 months, because it started to get, started to develop a pretty serious pipeline, and I just want to make sure that, in all honesty, I would forget properties, or I would forget that somebody had called, and and I did lose. They would tell me, well, you never called us back, or we thought you weren't interested, or you thought. So now nothing will escape me. I mean, even if it's a $200,000 home, I'll write it down, and and it's here, and I'll follow it the same way that I would follow a $2 million home, just same calls every week. It's just, to me, it's one. Although I do put the amount on the side, but I treat them all all the same.
Right.
Then the same thing with buyers. We have the buyers, and again, we color code the buyers. You know, the red are the ones who are actually right now ready to buy, and if they see something this afternoon, they'll buy it. Orange, well, we're thinking, they're waiting for the lender, or there's some document that the lender's asking for. And then blues are the ones that, you know, I have clients who are selling the property, and until that sells, then we'll start looking for something, or if somebody, you know, there are other clients that are going to come in towards the end of the year, but I know they're there. We're already kind of looking at the market, see what, again, there isn't a whole lot of inventory right now. So we're scanning, we're kind of casing the market, so to speak, to see what's coming up and spreading the word out, just in case when my clients come over, at least other agents know that I'm looking for a specific property, just in case there isn't enough inventory at that time. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, the closed, I have another column, which are all of the closed transactions and when they closed. Another column for referrals. We are marketing our listings to clients. Every time I go to a convention, to a class, and you know, we realtors exchange cards, I put them in a database, and I will shoot over to them what we're doing. So that generates referrals back in. And then we have our last column is just marketing pieces that we have a weekly meeting also on marketing, and we determine what pieces are going to go out and to whom. So we created another nice little spreadsheet describing, you know, for example, we're going to have a new property. So we have a column where we put the address of the property. Then we say, okay, this property is good for a coming soon, not in the MLS, just listed, then just sold or just closed. And then I put there, who do I send it to? Because again, that's the same property can be sent maybe with little tweaks to different people, to different groups of people, you know, past clients or investors or attorneys. Again, we do have that ability to kind of tweak things and be a lot more flexible and more focused on who we're sending stuff to, so that at least more people will read what we do rather than just delete us off the bat.
So you've got a great, you know, kind of snapshot sitting right in front of you on that board of, you know, your current business, things that you have in escrow, your future business, your future buyers, your future sellers, yeah, and your past business, what you've closed year to date. So you've got it all right in front of you visually, that you see it, you know, right, every hour of every day that you're in the office.
Yes.
That's great. We just started working on that color coding system where you're, right, you know, you're dealing with people that are 0 to 30 days from a contract, 31 to 60 days from a contract, and 61 to 90 days from a contract, whether they be buyer or seller. So, right, yeah.
The other piece that I have in the office is just a calendar, which is a dry erase calendar also, where I have, you know, now and next year I'm going to start planning again my trips, my time off, my classes, and then we also track, for example, when a transaction is accepted, when the contingencies are to be removed, and when it closes. So out of anything, we'd see, okay, what's going to happen? I can check if I can go on vacation next week or not, right? Okay, I can choose, okay, nah, you know, we're going to have about 3 closings that week or 2 closings that week. I should push my trip a week before or a week after. But then visually, I can see it right now, just for planning purposes. Visually, it is a lot easier to kind of control that. Or if I'm not going to be here, somebody can come into my office and clearly see, okay, this is what's happening regarding the big timeline, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, and I think Scott and I were talking to Miguel about this earlier. One of the great things that Miguel is able to do is, you know, he's a bicyclist, so he spends a lot of time on the weekends out bicycling with his wife Aurelia and their friends. He's about to go on a trip to Acapulco here, and is increasing his business while he's keeping a balanced life. And Scott, why don't you ask Miguel a couple of questions about that? Because you seem to be intrigued by it when we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the questions I was going to ask you, actually, kind of before we get into that, was, you know, by having all these systems, Miguel, in place, I mean, how much time is it freeing up for you to actually work on generating more leads and referrals from maybe not only your past clients but your networks. And I mean, how has that really helped you grow your business by having that time to put back in and work on the business?
Well, a big thing that has helped me, and it may not necessarily reflect on time, but on my, I sleep very well. I am not stressed because I can see issues coming up. I mean, well, we're always going to have, there's always going to be some kind of issue, but it's just more related to, I can take issues with transactions. I mean, I can take something that, it's not generated by me, or maybe a client or the buyer decided to change their mind, or the seller decided not to. I mean, that happens all the time. That's why we're here. And I can take those issues, and I can go to sleep at ease, knowing that I have a problem in a transaction. But it's different when the originator of the problem is other than everyone else except me. If there's a problem where I forgot to look at a deadline, I forgot to order a termite on time, I forgot to, then when I have those issues, I really can't sleep. I mean, those things really hit me hard. So really and talking about it right now as I'm speaking, out of fear of being stuck in a situation like that where my professionalism may be questioned with something, well, you just missed a deadline, or you missed with something relatively simple, the fear of being caught in that situation is the one that encourages me to create all these foolproof systems. Again, that's why I can go to sleep and I say, okay, I just checked my calendar. I don't have to be in the middle of the night. Okay, am I forgetting something? What am I forgetting? What am I forgetting? And so that's quality of life for me. Being able to go on a 3 or 4 weekend, a bike trip somewhere else. The last thing I want to do is to be thinking of, okay, I've got this issue, and I don't want to be thinking I want to be able to delegate or just have, okay, here's the thing, this would, if something else comes along, that's fine, but not from what we're supposed to do, which we're supposed to kind of manage a transaction. So that is one. Time-wise, of course, now I can do my prospecting. I still get, for example, I'm going to show you, I don't know if you can see this or not. This is a day timer, regular day timer. So, these are the few things that I have in paper. And whether you can see it or not, I've got little check marks here. And these check marks, these are, when I prospect, I put little check marks. I know I have to do at least 20 check marks, 20 contacts every day. And in this day timer, I write down, this is where I track all of my numbers, just listed, just sold, appointments, cancellations, in escrow, all of that is tracked, and I learned the Mike Ferry system. So all of that, everything that happens during the day, I write it don here. If I get an offer in, I'll write it, offer in. If I get a lead, one lead. At the end of the week, I'll go to my number tracking, and I'll put, okay, I worked one day, I prospected today, I prospected for 2 hours, I did 23 contacts, I got 3 leads. So I'll put all that down only once a week into my spreadsheet, and I've been doing that for years. So that allows me to know literally how much money I make every time I make a contact, or how much money I make every hour that I prospect. Because again, I have the track record of the past years. So that again just gives me so much clarity as to, okay, so I didn't prospect today, so that cost me about $3,000, literally. Again, and that's just how my brain works, and that's how I am motivated to do what I have to do, because that's every check mark that I put on my little book. That's $300. Whether they say just you want to buy or sell a house, no, clink. That to me is $300. So that's, again, that motivates me to come in and do my job, which is prospect every day.
And it's great, is because as Miguel's coach, I mean, there are times when, and you probably don't know this, I walk into your office sometimes and I look at that book because I know I can see the check mark, I can see the hash marks at the top of the page. So I know when you're prospecting and when you're not. So just gave you a little secret there, but a great way to track.
That's interesting that you say that, because again, the way my board is set up within my office, everybody who walks through it, I kind of felt a little nervous about that, saying, "Oh God, everybody who's going to walk through here is going to see what my volume is and how many transactions." So that in itself was good because it's out there for everyone to see it. And say, well, see, I guess he's just when is he going to start working full time, as you say? So that's pressure. And again, my book is here, so everything is here for everyone to come in and see. So, and again, that puts pressure on me to do what I'm supposed to be doing.
Constructive pressure.
There you go. That's good. That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. So, we talk about systems a lot. Agents talk about systems, and the number one thing I think that agents are looking for constantly is leads. So, Miguel, share with us some of the systems that you use and what the focal point of your systems are, and how your database feeds all of the systems that you use to reach out to your clients.
Okay, so this is a kind of a two-way road for here, because I've been in the business for 17 years, and before that I use a program called ACT, which is a database management program, and I used that one before I got into real estate. So to me it was just normal, and I had a number of contacts in there, so to me it was just natural to continue with that program. And throughout the years, it is a little complicated, and it takes time to learn it. But once you learn it, I'm able to tweak the program to create different fields that I will go and look at a later location for marketing. For example, I've added the typical fields, first name, last name, email, phone number, address, all of that. But I've added fields like interests. Who likes to ride bikes? Who likes hiking? Who likes to travel? Who likes to? So part of my job, even what holidays do you celebrate? Hanukkah? Do you celebrate Christmas? Kwanzaa? What associations do they belong to? What schools do they go to? Anything, any piece of information that I get from any of my clients, I will write it down. The name of their kids, the birthdays of their kids, their anniversaries, everything and anything that comes out, I will write it down. I will add a field to it, and then I will use that to prospect. I'll call my clients when it's I'll call them the day before their anniversary, telling them that, hey, remember it's your wife's anniversary tomorrow, and you owe me big time in case you had forgotten about it, or birthdays. Or I'll call them and say, hey, it's your son's birthday today. Congratulations, and they'll just go, wow, how'd you know that? Just because in a conversation last year they mentioned that they were having a party, so I'll just ask what's the day, what's the birth date. So again, it's just asking, getting to know. It's not about getting to know everyone, which is now at my older age. Now I've come to that realization. It's not about getting to know everyone. Is to know the fewer people, but know them very well. And at that point, that's where you're going to develop more business. So by doing little things like that, it's amazing how they say, oh, you're always remembering well, it's not that I remember they're there. I'm just checking my database. It's okay, who celebrates birthdays today? I can even plan. We can send them little videos of Marilyn Monroe singing happy birthday, Mr. President, or stuff like that. So we can get creative, and we can program that ahead of time. And that's every time it's a touch, but very directly, not just, hey, who do you know who wants to buy or sell? The people will immediately, once you do something like that, they feel like they want to correspond and say, oh, how's business? They'll ask me about my business, and they'll sometimes try to, in their minds, they say, well, this guy Miguel did this for us. How can we, thank him?
So you have everybody in an Excel spreadsheet in your database.
Yes.
Which you export to ACT. And then what other tools do you use? Did we lose him?
No, he's there.
No, I'm here.
What other tools do you use to communicate with your clients that come through your database? Like, talk about BombBomb or the newsletter that you do, things like that.
So I'm out there a lot all the time. So we're always this idea of my newsletter It's just more, it's called Things to Do in San Diego. And I just get the list of activities that happen in San Diego, and that just out of the necessity for my kids who they were always, oh, we're bored, what are we going to do? So I just started looking at those lists. Okay, well, there's a parade here, there's a concert here. So I started putting that online, and I've been doing that for many years. I even now get calls or emails from people, hey, can you include me in your list of things to do in San Diego? Or other professionals will call me and say, Miguel, a client of mine is coming from out of town. Can you send me your list of things to do in San Diego? So, I mean, that even is a...
How many people do you send that out to a month?
2,900.
2,900.
Yeah.
Nice. It's awesome.
So, normally what I'm doing, I'm prospecting. It's the other way around it. So I'm prospecting an act, I'm inputting the information, then I will select, let's say that there's a festivity, there's a bike ride coming up. So I will go into my database, I will go in and say, okay, give me the bike riders who like to do road bikes, who, I don't know, whatever, maybe 2 or other classifications. I can make that selection, and then that information I download it into an Excel spreadsheet. That sheet, I will then go to BombBomb, which is again, it's a contact management, but the good thing about BombBomb is that it allows you to use video to go out to your clients. So I will upload, let's say, the information, the actual printed information or the link for that ride, and then I'll do a little video, and I'll just pretty much say, hey, hi guys, this is Miguel, and I just, I found this event. I'll probably end up going. Come in and join me, please. Take care. See you later. Bye-bye. And make it very simple, and then I send it out. And of course, as you guys know, 80% of the people who receive a video will see it. I would have just sent the link and an email. Maybe 30% would have read it. So sending the video just raises the amount of people looking at it. And I've, and I'll do my monthly newsletter also. And I don't edit it. I don't put music in it. It's not a big presentation. A good friend of mine who's a board member at the Scripps Hospital, where I'm also a board, she tells me, Miguel, you know what I like more about your videos? And I ask her, what? Well, when you screw up. Because if I screw up, if I sneeze, I'll leave it there. And in an odd way, if I would have sent perfect videos the whole time, I don't think I'd have so many people seeing them. So,
didn't you send out at the end of last year? Didn't you send out a bunch of outtakes, or a bunch of funny things you did as part of that? Everything was awesome.
That was my Thanksgiving video where I was supposed to do a really nice, very Americana. The whole family and the dog was there. I was going to thank all my clients for their support and blah blah blah. And I told my kids to prepare the script and to come something cute. They didn't do anything, so I was so mad. So okay, let's go and do it right now. We sit down, we start taping, and scene after scene, the wind blew a paper in front of the lens. It was just, so I thought, okay, let's just put all these outtakes. We don't have time for anything else. Thanksgiving is tomorrow. And it was a hit. The people from BombBomb, as a matter of fact, somebody from the office said, hey, Miguel, I was at a Mike Ferry event, and I saw one of your videos. So wait a second, I should start charging royalties. I don't think they're choosing the most flattering ones, but I guess that's what they're using as an example of, hey, you don't have to be and you don't even have to sound nice. I mean, I have such a monotone voice, but that's who I am, and I guess.
See that you're authentic. They want to see the real you, and they want to see that you're authentic.
Yeah, and I want to point out here to the people that are watching, the key, if you've been listening for the last 10 minutes, is that Miguel, his goal is to add value, and that's what your agenda is, to add value, add a benefit, help your database, help your clients, and that's probably why you're getting such a good return with that, because you're not going to them and just asking for business. That's not what your agenda is at all. It's to go and add value. I think that's really, really important when you're talking to people that already trust you and like you. So that's really cool that you're doing that, Miguel. It's awesome.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention,
how much
real quick,
business? Go ahead.
I was going to say, guys, if you're watching still, please ask some questions for Miguel. There's a Q&A application. We'll get them answered while we're on this call.
Yeah, I just flipped on my Facebook. Somebody sent me a private message and asked me to ask you, Miguel, how many of your transactions this year, what percentage of your transactions this year have come from your database?
95.
95%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I know that if I bring a buyer's agent or somebody, or we hire a ISI, is that how you call them? The people.
Inside sales associate. Yeah.
We haven't called. I don't call FISBOs or expires or any of that. It's just, we're just leaving so much money on the table. So that's how I'm going to plan on my expansion. Started going and lead generate from the internet. Well, we do have internet, funny enough, but the videos also. A byproduct of doing videos is that we're getting more and more hits online and clients online. I got a client from Mexico actually says, well, I don't know, I picked you up somewhere in the internet, and that's just by default. I'm not still, and that's part of my plan to do it more on purpose to generate a better SEO and target more. But again, that's going to be my expansion arena for next year, aside from working on my database, which is still working. Again, I'm just tapping into a little bit of my database. Having 2,900 people and emails, I'm still low on what the returns should actually be. Yeah.
So what's, Scott? Did you want to ask a follow-up question on that? Because you're the video.
Well, I think it's really interesting, and I'm glad. I love that you say that someone just found you online. That's what video does. It makes you more visible. So when people are researching or searching, that you'll just come up organically. But there's, me and Miguel can speak another time. There's a lot more that he could be doing, and I feel like I can kind of maybe advise him a little bit on how to get better SEO and get better traction and actually be able to target more people in your database with video. But yeah, it's what you're doing is so good, and with the newsletter and just the value that you're adding to your database. The database is the biggest asset that you'll ever have, and the fact that you're getting 95% of your business from that, it goes to everyone that's watching right now, is that you got to build that database and always be adding to it and always be adding value and getting to know everyone in your database so that you can send them and keep in touch with them in the right ways. Yeah.
I say it all the time, Scott. As a leader and a manager and a coach, if I could get everybody here, if I could get everybody in my office to reach out to their sphere and their database and their past clients like Miguel does, everybody would make more money than they've ever made before. But and if people ask me what's the number one fear that agents have, it's contacting their sphere and their database. So Miguel is a testament to. He's going to gross $500,000 in income this year, over $500,000 in income. 95% of that coming from his sphere and his past clients. So I would ask you all watching: are you contacting your sphere and your past clients to the extent that Miguel is, to help drive more revenue to you? And
I think that big mindset shift too, Jim, is that people think by contacting your database that you have to be asking for business.
Right.
So that's where that wall gets built up, where that's not what you should necessarily be doing at all. Maybe if you get in correspondence you would, but your first initial reach out needs to be just adding some sort of value, like Miguel does, and I think that's why he's able to touch his database so well.
Well, and because the clients are just going to ask, Miguel touched on it earlier, the clients are going to ask Miguel, how's your business? Because they're interested, have that contact with him, and they see that he's providing value, so they're going to ask him, how's business? And that's just going to lead into a conversation about, how's your home? Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell? And it's just, it's not, everybody's fear is, oh God, I don't want to be calling my friends and my family and my past clients and asking for business. They want to give you business. And we talked about it yesterday in the team meeting with Aaron Simons. he said it's not their job to keep in touch with us. It's not their job to follow up with us. It's our job to follow up with them. And the great script that he used yesterday that I think everybody should write down is, you know, I'm not doing my job if I'm not following up with you. So, and that just opens up that conversation. And, you know, Miguel does a great job with that. So, Miguel, how many hours a day do you lead generate by calling the people in your database?
2 hours. 2 hours.
2 hours a day.
9:30 to 11:30. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and that's what those those tally marks are at the top of your day.
Now,
and if I miss, yes.
Oh, go. I was just gonna say, how are you going through your database? I mean, what do you use to target certain people, or is it just kind of arbitrarily going through and making random calls?
That's a great question. I classify my targets, so to speak, not target, but my groups that I call. I have, for example, I created what I call the 200 group, which is 200, which they're actually a little bit more, but it's just labeled 200 group. 200 of my best clients, best friends, people that that refer multiple clients to me. Those are kind of my select group that I have to talk to them at least 2 to 3 times a year. It literally should be 4, but 2 or 3 times a year personally, right? Because I know when their birthdays are, I know when they're, and sometimes I'll just send a video, and that's why the power of video is that they'll feel even if it's a video of myself, to them they'll feel like if I actually talk to them.
Right.
So that I have that group. Then there's on Mondays I do my lead generation. All Mondays my 2 hours are to follow up on leads. Who's out there? What's going on? Why hasn't somebody called? Tuesdays I call my 200 group. Wednesday I call attorneys, CPAs, financial consultants. Thursdays I call just regular friends or people who, for example, who have changed their emails or anything else. And Fridays is just any stragglers that I have that I wasn't able to call during the week. So I do have that those classifications per week. And of course, I have in ACT I have. And again, it doesn't have to be ACT. I have my new agent. I told her just start. You can do exactly the same with Excel. With Excel, just do first name, last name. And every time you learn something new, kids first kid's name. Create another column that's kids' names, and you add it there. You can sort all of that in Excel. We add, for example, every time we talk, somebody say, okay, when is the next time you're going to contact that person? Create that field, put it in Excel, and then you just sort it. Okay, it's this week. Who do I need to talk to this week? And you could make it Excel so that it comes up like that. So when I say ACT, I guess I could have started with Excel, and it pretty much can accomplish pretty much the same thing. If
so I mean, because ACT isn't perfect, right?
No, and it doesn't. To me, I mean, you have to combine a couple of platforms, because ACT, I guess, even though they say that you could select a group and then shoot an email to all of them, it's not quite right. Or I wouldn't be able to shoot a video for example, or I couldn't put some nice signatures, or maybe it is already, maybe it's doing it now. But again, I think that in my case, BombBomb has been very good. For example, I was just hearing one video this morning on, I think it was Bill Pipes was doing a coaching video, and the power again of video. I'm just saying, I was just thinking that there's a lot of other people that if I call them, they might not remember me. Maybe it was an attorney that I met 6 months ago at a conference that were 50 people. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to send him a personalized video. Hello, John. This is Miguel Nunez. You may or may not remember me. That's why I'm sending you a video. And go on. Sorry it took me this long to get back to you. Looking for, let's have lunch one of these days, or let's have coffee. I apologize for not. And so they're going to receive it. They're going to open it up because it's a video, and they're going to say, okay, yeah, I remember this guy. And then I'll just follow up later on. But I just thought about that. With the more time goes by that you don't talk to somebody, the less you want to talk to them, because they're going to say, who the heck are you? I don't even know. I mean, you have my card. How'd you get it? So That's
Hey,
what
Scott,
I'm.
funny story. With Miguel's use of video,
Yeah, it's great.
we went to the Keller Williams luxury marketing event in Jacksonville or Amelia Island last what was it, May?
Mhm.
And I talked to Miguel and I said, hey, dude, why don't you go shoot a video? We'll download the list of everybody that's going to that event and get you some referrals. Shoot a video on the beach in Del Mar in front of some uber, luxury $12 million house. So he did. He went out, shot the video, and then he set it up in BombBomb and sent it out to everybody that was going to be at that conference. And I swear, when we showed up, everybody wanted to meet Miguel. He was like a rock star. And
Celebrity.
the guy that did it, it was awesome. And he will get referral business from that. I guarantee it.
That's the power of video, incorporating. No one's doing that. No one's doing what you're doing, Miguel. I mean, limited amount of people, really.
Yeah.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
And again, it's scratchy voice. I have some nervous tics that come with it, but that's the way they. Anyway, so it took me. It's not easy. It takes time to get over that whole insecurity. And then talk about insecurities. I have my share of insecurities. It's just man. But after a while, you'd say, well, what the heck?
Nobody likes their voice.
People love that.
Nobody likes how they appear on camera. But I mean, when I gave Miguel that idea, man, he went out the next day and did it, and it was out on BombBomb to everybody that was going to that conference 2 days later. So I mean, it was just like, here's an idea. He put it into action, and I don't know if you've gotten any business from it yet, but you will. I mean, I don't have any doubt.
I did get a referral from it was about $800,000 home. I did, and I even saved that. I think I'll have to show it to you because I saved. She responded. She sent me the referral, and she just replied to that email to the video that I sent. Oh, by the way, here, remember me? So that did work, but it was funny because people across the room would start waving at me, and I'm kind of, I don't know who you are, but they were waving at me, and it was fun. It was really fun.
I just remember one night we were at the hotel, and we're sitting around the pool, and we all had a few cocktails in us, and we were smoking cigars. And I mean, everybody was coming up to meet Miguel, and Jeremiah and I were a little hurt because I mean, it's just we got this guy with he's so popular. But I mean, it was just a great use of being able to leverage. I mean, an $800,000 sale. It was a $24,000 commission, more than paid for that trip, and there will be more. There will be more. So,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, and the fact that you have that you're genuine on your videos and it's not overproduced and it's just you. That's what people want to see, especially in your database when they already know and trust you. They want to see who you are. That's why video is so great, man. I mean, I hear the same things from clients that work with us all the time. It's awesome. But hey, like if someone wants to contact you, Miguel, and maybe reach out and learn a little bit more about your systems, I mean, what can they do? Can they shoot you an email?
Yeah. My email is miguel.sandiego@kw.com. They can come over and kind of sit here and see what I have. Happy to show them. My number is 858-481-1029. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Thank
you. And before we go, we've got like 2 minutes left. I just, Miguel, I respect and I admire you so much. And what people don't know is that Miguel lost his father earlier in the year, and his business didn't skip a beat. And he was very close to his dad and spent a lot of time with his dad the last couple of months. And I know that I was amazed and impressed at how Miguel's business ran during that time. Just didn't skip a beat, and it's because of the systems and the people that he has in place that helped him get through that. So I was never more proud of you and admired you more than during that time with your dad. I don't think I've ever shared that with you. So
thank you.
Well done.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, Jim, next month we're going to be here again interviewing someone else. Right?
Absolutely. I love doing this, and Miguel, thank you for being on with us and taking an hour and a half out of your day. Scott, thanks for providing the platform and the forum for us to do this, and I would encourage anybody who's looking to do more business, whether it be on BombBomb, to contact Miguel, or through something like this, to contact Scott. He has a lot of great ideas that you can implement and help grow your business to achieve your goals. And anybody has any questions for me, you can reach me on Facebook or on my cell, 858-254-1840, or at jimr@kw.com, and just, always love talking real estate and helping people grow their businesses. So looking forward to next month. Thanks, Scott.